Hello friends, welcome back to another video. So in this video we are going to be taking a look at primitive data types that are supported by Go language. So for this demonstration I am going to be using playground Google Go playground. So you can open up this URL in your browser and get started with this video. And for this video, we are going to be taking a look at primitive data types that are supported by Go. So the first thing that we need to see is how a variable is declared in Go language. So the variable is declared. Every variable declaration is started by var and then variable name, and then we can define its type. So this is how we declare a variable. Then if you want to assign a value to that variable, then you can assign a value to that variable, and then I'm going to be just printing that variable out. and, and as you can see that our output of the value we assigned in in that variable is printed out over here. So this is how you typically assign a variable, and this is handy when you want to assign a variable before and then initialize that variable afterwards in the program. So that's how you can do it. And if you have ever worked with programming languages like C++ or Java, so the syntax is pretty much the same. The another way to initialize a variable is, what you can do is var b float 32. So and then assign the value over here. And there are two different float variables that are supported by Go, a float 32 and a float 64. So these both are for 32-bit number system and 64-bit number system. So you have to explicitly define which variable format you want to use, and then the same we are going to print that value and click on run, and you can see over here our value is printed out. So this is how you can declare and assign value at the same line. And this is also helpful if you are in some cases that you want to define the value already and then to use that value afterwards in the program. Another way to initialize a variable is like, uh, we can just ignore this part and the data type of that variable, and the Go compiler automatically picks up understands what value the value entered in that variable is of some data type related to that variable. Like, you can just simply write b. Over here we need to define semicolon and is equal to. Now if I enter over here Usama and just print, then and just do b. B is already used, so I am going to use C. And now you can see that the compiler automatically understood that the value that we are assigning to a variable named C is of string data type, and it automatically converts that variable into a string variable and automatically prints the data that is inside that variable. So this is familiar for those who have worked in Python. So if you have worked in Python, you know that you don't need to specify data types in Python, and the compiler automatically uh, converts those variable into the data they are receiving from the user. Another data type that is supported by Go language is Boolean. So let's see, we have data type, a variable f, and its data type is Boolean. So we are going to assign a value of true, and if we again print that variable out, we will see that it is going to return us a boolean value. So as you can see over here, we have a boolean value that variable f returned. So this is how you specify different data types in different variables and their data types inside Go programming language. So another interesting data type over here is complex. So if you have worked in different mathematical equations in programming, so if you have worked in C++, you need to import specific libraries into your program in order to use some complex number functions in your program. So in the case of GoLang, it is built into the language, so you can use complex data types in your program. So if you write a variable d and give the semicolon and is equal to and just write complex, and over here this is the real part and this is the imaginary part. So if we go ahead and print this variable out, and you will see that the compiler automatically understands that this is a complex number, and it will automatically print out that this is the real part of that number and this is the imaginary part. You can also separate these two parts from this declaration in this way. So just write real, and I am going to be using im for imaginary part, and then is equal to real, and we are going to get this value from d, as we have already assigned a complex number over here. So this is going to get the real part from the variable d, and if we go at image and d, and this is going to get the imaginary part from our variable d. So just if we go ahead and print this out, r and im, and let's see what we get. So over here you can see that it automatically got the real part from the variable from our complex variable, and the imaginary part from our complex variable too. So it is printing out the real part of the complex variable 3 and the imaginary part of the variable 4. And another thing that I want to show you over here is, like, if we declare a variable and we are not using that variable, the compiler throws us an error. Like it says that f variable was declared but not used. So it is similar to importing a library and then not using it. So the compiler gives you an error that this library was imported but not used. So this is a pretty neat thing of Go language, that if you are not using that variable, it automatically tells you that you are not using that variable and you should remove it if you are not using. So it keeps your code clean, and if someone else is taking a look at some code that you wrote for an application, and there are different variables that are initialized but not used, so it just uh, creates a confusion for that developer. So in this way you keep your code clean, and if someone else is taking a look at your code and using that code in your future, so he gets a better understanding of what was done in that code. So this is it for this video. Do subscribe to our channel, like, comment down if you have any questions, and do press that bell icon to keep updated to our channel. Thanks for watching, and bye bye.